So let's make a small video about mushrooms. So these are mushrooms which I collected yesterday morning. I first went to a lake on Sunday afternoon, so Sunday, September 22nd in the afternoon. I found next to this lake some milk caps, so Lactarius controversius, also Leccinum, which are some types of boletus, but they are not considered as boletus any longer. So Leccinum Aurantiacum, I took them, so they are orange-capped boletus, and I cooked them thoroughly and ate them. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough bags, so I decided to come back the next day because I could notice something very special, the presence of lots of Amanita species. So the ones which were interesting here are these ones. First of all, let me say that I found two Amanita pantherina nearby, only 10 meters further. So it's very important to say that it's possible to find different types of Amanita next to each other. And there was a huge group of the mushrooms which I have here on my table and which I collected. I can also open the fridge so that you can see that there are lots of them in the fridge. When you look at them, some of them have a rather brownish cap, but actually this is only because they are quite old. They are actually rather gray, in fact. So if you look any closer, and now we'll come to the key identification. I wasn't entirely sure. My first ID was Amanita Vaginata. So I'm a member of a mushroom club in my area. So I know some Amanita, of course. I eat the blusher. I know Amanita Pantherina quite well. Also, the Death Cap, the Destroying Angel. Well, anyway, but this one was quite strange and weird for me because of the presence of some words which are visible on the cap here and the remains of the veil. So my first ID was Amanita Vaginata. In order to make sure to clearly identify an Amanita, you have to take the mushroom entirely out with a knife. Don't cut it. You pull the knife under the ground and you make sure to dig everything and to take the entire mushroom out so that you're able to clearly see the foot of the mushroom, so the stem and the base of the stem. This is very important because it's a key factor of identification for this particular mushroom here. Otherwise, you might confuse it with Amanita pantherina, which has not a vulva, but the base of the stem looks like some socks. Okay, while here you can clearly see that this is a veil of vulva, not a large one, like for Amanita Phalloides, for instance, which is called in German Knollenblätterpilz, also der grüne Knollenblätterpilz. And a knolle, this means that it's just getting some, there's something growing next to it, which is here clearly not the case. So that's very important. Another thing which enables to make the difference between this one and Amanita pantherina is the fact that the stem is not pure white. And this was something weird because actually I even found some. So here it got detached, but as you can see, it even has some snake skin type of stem, which is weird. If you look any closer, you can even see that there's some yellowish or orange stains at the base of the veil. Some of them have remains of the partial veil and some warts, whereas some others have almost nothing remaining, like this one, even though there's just slightly something. But here, if you take this one, there's almost nothing remaining, just the partial veil, but no warts. In terms of colors, it's like silver gray, but some of them are slightly browner than the others. What else needs to be said? So, yeah, my ID was Amanita Vaginata, and then I was lucky enough to meet the other members of the Mushroom Club in the evening because we meet every Monday evening. The first ID of one of the guys who is really specialized too was Amanita Mairei. Okay, I said why not, and then yeah, I was not so sure. I kept looking and I said, but there's something strange because in fact, for Amanita Mairei, doesn't have the snake skin type of stem, as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong. Then he was not so sure either. And actually, we made some more research, and I'm the one who came across Amanita Maleata or Simulans, Amanita Simulans. Um, so that's the one. Um, the margin of the cap is striated here all over, clearly striated. It's very important to quote that because, for instance, death caps don't have striated margins. So that's 100% sure not a death cap or a destroying angel. But Amanita pantherina, which grew nearby, also has a striated margin. But the key difference is definitely the base of the stem. The presence of a veil, the color of the cap, even though the color of the cap might change slightly, especially when it rains, and unfortunately it started raining yesterday morning. Can take some others here, as you can see. Another one even said Amanita Cecilia, but I said no, it can definitely not be Cecilia because yeah, he saw just one of them and not the other ones, and then he said no, definitely not. He agreed that it cannot be Amanita Cecilia, even though I agree that if you take some, it might be pretty confusing when you don't know Amanita Cecilia. He probably saw it because of the presence of the words here, which are very visible on top of the cap, but the cap is much more silver gray here than for Amanita Cecilia. Okay, so I'm the one who came across Amanita Simulans. Amanita Simulans is apparently an edible species of Amanita. It also belongs to the subgroups of Amanita Vaginata, so it derives from the same section. There isn't a big difference between all those Amanitas, and if you want to get more information about them, so I found them in Alsace, in the southern part of Alsace, next to the Swiss and German border. I checked French websites for mushrooms, MycoDB, which is very relevant, or the German website 123 Pilze. And when you look at 123 Pilze, what is very interesting is that they call it der Pappelstreifling. Oder Pappelscheidestreifling oder sowas. Pappel, that's a type of tree. It's called the poplar in English. And then, yeah, so it's okay, but that's excellent because in fact I found it next to poplars. I didn't think about this detail immediately, but it's true that it grew next to poplars. So they are edible, but like for instance the blusher, they are poisonous. Sorry, they are poisonous when you don't cook them thoroughly. So you have to cook them for at least 15 or 20 minutes. So I will boil them in some water, even though it might get rid of some parts of the taste. But at least I will be 100% sure that there's no poison remaining. And then I will just put them in the pan with some butter and taste them. Enjoy your meal.